Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the research paper writing. So this session is about the introduction, the course model. You might ask me, what is course model? Is it about a cars? Of course not, but it will show you a map about how to drive a car. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, first let's review what we have learned. Then I will give you a detailed introduction about a car's model. So the week before spring break, Alexander has introduced the argument structure outline, drawing a triangle, the upside down triangle on the blackboard. And you have all identify your area of interest, issues or problems, the research questions, and the gap. So now you have your wonderful ideas. So you might want to construct a paper, a research paper. But a question for you, why do we write a research paper? Yes, we might want to gain the acceptance from our fellow researchers and gain the recognition from the journal editors to publish our articles, right? Okay, so in order to achieve our purpose, we need to write our introduction very carefully and logically. So here is a person named Swells. He has identified the very well acknowledged pattern about how to write a very effective introduction. So this is the CARS model, creating a research space model. Here are some moves you can see. Moves here means the sequence, how you arrange your contents. For the first move, it is establishing a research territory. Then second move is to establish a niche. And the third move is to occupy the niche. See, it's quite similar to what Alexandra has introduced to us, right? For the first move, the meaning, for example, the situation, the area of your interest. For the second move, you identified a problem. It's like the issue of the problem. For the third move, you find the solution to cover the gap. Okay, so let's have a detailed look at the situation. So if you want to describe a situation, how would you like to describe it in order to gain acceptance and recognition? So I believe you might want to demonstrate knowledge and its relevance in the field. You really want to show your fellow researchers or the journal editors that you know this field very well, so you might review the previous literature. For the second move, you have identified a gap that needs to be addressed with research. For the last move, you address your research. You might want to address your research purpose, list some research questions, state the value or the structure, or even some main findings. So these are all the moves about creating a research space model. So now let's have a look at an introduction, an example of an introduction. This is a very short one, but it depends on your field whether your introduction should be short or long. Okay, so I will give you some time to read through this article, this short introduction actually, and you need to pay attention to each sentences and tell me what's the purpose or what are the moves. Okay, I think you have finished. And then let's read the sentences one by one and analyze this introduction. The first sentence, anyone would like to read it? Stress is a common concern that impacts students globally. Okay, could anyone tell me which moon is it? Of course, it's the Moon 1, established a research territory. So from the first sentence, we can find that research want to show that the general research area is important, central, interesting, problematic, or relevant. So it is also called by Wells the claiming the centrality. Okay, now let's move to the second sentence. Is there anyone can read it? Researchers have reported numerous accounts of how positive and negative stress impacts graduate students' productivities. We see there is some in-text reference, right? Yes. So it's the literature review. Still, the Moon 1 established a research territory, but it introduces and review the items of previous research in this area. So we see for step Moon 1, step A, it is optional. It depends on your field. And for step B, it is required. You must know your previous research very well in your field. Okay, then let's move to the third sentence. Obviously, it's also the literature review. We see the year, the person. Then the next sentence, by recognizing that a problem exists and by addressing the issue, universities can reduce stressful activities and increase students' productivity. Thus, universities need to identify those suffering from negative stress and implement programs as a defense against stress. So, what is this move? Yes, you're right. It's the establishing a niche, indicated a gap in the previous research, so or extending previous knowledge in some way. Then let's read the next sentence. So we see the purpose of the study. So it's easy for us to know it's time to occupy the niche. So the author outlined the purpose. But sometimes the author can also state the nature of the present research. Now, the last sentence, this research provides key insights. Yes, you are right. It's the Moon 3, step B, state the value of the research. But sometimes the researchers can also add the research questions, principal findings, or the structure of the paper. It depends on your field, so it's also optional. Okay, so we have read through this short introduction and identify the moves and steps. Then can you find some useful language for our use in the future? For example, we can use something like a common concern for claiming the centrality. Researchers has reported blah blah according to someone blah blah. Someone has mentioned blah blah. So these are all about introduce the previous research. And you can also talk about some problems exist. You identified a gap or something, and or the purpose of your study something, or the research provides something. So you see, this language help us to identify each moves and steps, and help our research paper more convincing and logically. Okay, so what are the other languages that we can use to express in our research paper? Yeah, you can probably provide me with some synonyms or some constructions, you know. So for the For claiming the centrality, we may have these choices. You may talk about something has been extensively studied, or there has been growing interest, or the recent researchers have focused on something has become a major issue, something remains a serious problem, or something has been increasing concern, or something has been investigated by many researchers. So these are all very good structures for claiming the centrality. And you can also find that most of the structures use the present perfect tense to connect the past research to your current research. Okay, and for step B, introduce a literature review. I think we have all talked about the in-text reference last semester. Okay, I'm going to skip this step. And for MOOM 2, establish a niche. I will talk about this with more words because this is really important. There might be 3 ways to indicate a gap. So the first way might be you indicate something is wrong. Use a very strong tone. And if something is right, sometimes you indicate a gap. Something is missing, like the jigsaw, one piece is missing. Or sometimes you can just raise a question, right? Or sometimes you think everything's okay for the previous literature, but I really want to add something. So these are the 4 ways to establish a niche. And what kind of language are likely to be used in this move? Yes, great. We are likely to use some negative evaluations and contrastive connections. So here are some choices. We might use something, some blah 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 is good. However, few attention has been paid in this area. Or you might use something like, yeah, a lot of research has done in the field, but people has failed to do something. And here are the options which might be useful for your own research, your own introduction writing. Okay, now let's move to the last move, occupy the niche. So that's mainly focused on the required step by outlining the purposes or state the nature of the present research. Okay, so you can construct your language like this. The aim of the present paper is to do something, or the purpose, or the objective, whatever synonyms you can think of. Or you can also talk about them in a more descriptive way. This paper reports on the research reports on the results obtained, blah blah blah. Okay, so we have learned a lot. Now it's time to practice what we have learned. So I have 2 tasks for you. For the first one, I would love you to read the introduction of Nathan and Zizer's article and identify the moves and steps. I want you to use the color coding technique, remember, I just used. And if you can, please highlight the languages which is worthwhile or which corresponds to each moves or steps. And the second task, after you have finished task 1, and you can move to task 2, you can analyze one of your research articles from your corpus. I think Alexandra has asked you to evaluate the sources, and you have 2 primary sources, and I want you to open them and analyze the moves and steps with the color coding techniques. Most importantly, I want you to find the sentences indicate each moves or step and type them in the Google Docs. Here's the link. Okay, so this is the introduction of the article you are going to analyze and color coding them. And later we will check the answers. And then here is the Google Docs. If you click the link, you can go here. So here are move 1, move 2, and move 3. I have given you the definitions about each steps, and here is some sentence structure. You might want to find them or highlight them. Here's an example. You should read your article and find the step. I also want you to type your field of study after the sentences, because I know you are from different fields, and different fields may use different language, right? So I want you to type them. If you find that people are from the same field as you are, you might use some constructions from their sentences, right? Okay. And here I have provided the language and the examples for you. Okay, so now you can begin your task. If you have questions, please feel free to ask me. I can help you to identify the moon, steps, and the language. Okay, you have all done a great job. So this is our lesson. Thank you so much.